Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of MagicReviewed.com. I know it's been a while. Sorry about that. Today we're reviewing Drunk by Hondo. You lose something over here, Hondo? Men in Black. Anyway, Men in Black 3 to be specific. Anyway, this is for 25 bucks. You don't get any tricks. You get 6 do-it-yourself projects. You get to learn how to make a Svengali deck. You get to learn how to make your own linked rubber bands. You get to learn how to make linked, candy mints. Like a lifesaver type thing. You learn how to rough playing cards. You learn how to make turn invisible elastic into invisible elastic loops. You know how to tie them basically. And there was one. You learn how to make a one-way deck and the same deck, also a marked deck. And the deck that you'd be using in this particular case is the Bicycle Rider Backs 808s. Anyway, it is warm in here. Whew. I have my studio lights on with the green screen set up and everything for a different video shoot. And the heat has not yet dissipated. Whew. So, sorry if I'm sweating a little. Anyway, I give this 3.5 stars, stone status of gem. It's $25, and you also get with the DVD this little thing here. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's not something that you probably don't have one of these because it's not a magic thing, but it's also not like a commonly found thing in your home either. That little tool though helps you to make the linked rubber bands much better than you could any other way. It's just a nice little tool that helps make that process easier. So, what is the effect? There are no effects. In fact, the DVD is very clear. It says, this DVD is not filled with magic tricks. However, it provides plenty of confidential information about prop making, which is a great money saver for you. So it teaches you how to make 6 different props. It claims to teach you how to make a stripper deck too, but it actually doesn't teach you that. And so my thought was, well, a Svengali and a stripper are sort of similar. If you're familiar with how those work, you'll know what I mean. But the way they teach you how to make the Svengali cards, it's very cool and very smart, and it's a good way to make sure that your cuts are always accurate. But that same method won't quite work for a stripper deck because, without giving away too much, if you know Svengali, you only have to cut one side. With a stripper deck, you have to cut 2 sides. And the way they show it on here, you just can't make a stripper deck using the method they use for the Svengali. Hope that made some sense. Anyway, so the idea is to save you some money. In my opinion, I'd rather just buy the Svengali deck, frankly. But that's up to you. If you want to make one, cool. But it's going to cost you. You're going to have to buy a paper cutter, like one of those ones in the offices with the big old whoosh, the guillotine on it. You're going to have to buy one of those, and those things ain't cheap. But once you have that, you can make as many Svengali decks as you want. But keep in mind, if you're making a Svengali deck, that means you also have to have a one-way, a deck of all 5 of diamonds or whatever. And you're going to use half of those for your Svengali deck. So if you just need a deck, you're probably better off buying one. But all the other stuff, like the linked rubber bands, all you need is a rubber band, some stuff you've got in your drawer, probably, for, glues and stuff like that. And then the little tool that's in here, that's all you need. So you're probably saving money there rather than buying linked rubber bands already. And the way you make them, they're going to be very solid and very, very good. Invisible elastics. Yeah, if you bought elastic thread, a spool of that, it's probably way cheaper to tie your own loops than it would be to buy a loop separately. The same with the mints. Just making the mints is easy. I mean, you just buy a roll of mints and you can make linked mints out of that. So that doesn't cost you anything extra. The roughing fluid idea, or how to rough playing cards, the concept they use in here, yeah, it's probably cheaper than buying a deck that's already roughed or buying any other kind of roughing fluid stuff. They have a solution. It's a solution you probably know already. A lot of people know about this way to rough cards. So let's see. Oh, the marked deck. Okay, sorry again for the sweat. Whew. Let me just cool off a bit here, and then I'll tell you about the marked deck. Okay, Mark deck uses the bicycle rider back 808 design. And what's cool about this is I've always wanted to be able to incorporate this part of the design in a Mark deck, and I never could find a way that worked for me that I felt was easy to do. This guy, I don't know if it's his own original, but Hondo, he found a way to do it. And it's pretty clever, and it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And he also has a way to mark the cards so that they're one-way back design, you know, so you can tell if the card's been turned around or not. So it's very clever, very easy to do, and all you need is a deck of cards and an X-Acto knife, and that's all you need to do it. So all in all, you'll probably save money for the most part by buying this for $25 and making other props. The only case where I think that might not be true would be with the Svengali deck. As far as ad copy goes, the only thing I mentioned that they say it teaches you how to make a stripper deck, which it doesn't. There's one other one that I'm pretty sure it's just a lost in translation moment where he says that there are tools supplied. There's only one tool, and I think that's just a lost in translation thing. And then there's one other thing. Oh, yeah. He mentions that you can apply this linked rubber band concept to other things like finger rings and earrings and scissors. Again, I think it's just a translation issue. You can't take two finger rings and link two finger rings together. You can link a rubber band to a finger ring. So you can apply this concept to a rubber band and some other object, not just two other objects. So hopefully that makes some sense. I think that's about it. So the ad copy was pretty much okay. The main issue I had a problem with, if you watch the trailer, there's a clip in there where he shows what appears to be two separate rubber bands, and then they link, and then he hands them out. Obviously, the handed out bands are the linking rings, rubber bands that you've created by, following along with the instructions here. But the problem is, on the DVD, he never teaches the handling that you see in the trailer. There's also a trick in the trailer where like a rubber band, it looks like it jumps from one card to another or something like that. Not only is that not taught on the DVD, but there's nothing on the DVD that talks about it at all. Like, at least with the linking rubber bands, they show you how to make the linked bands. But they don't talk about cards or a rubber band and card trick at all. It's just like not even there. So I don't understand why that was even in the trailer. That makes no sense to me. With the linked rubber bands, I can give them a little leeway because they specifically said there are no tricks on this DVD. So showing the linking rubber bands on the trailer, I get, because they're going to teach you how to make linked rubber bands. So I don't think that's a hit to the ad copy, but I do think it's a hit to the product quality. Because the product quality, if they're going to teach you how to make the linked bands, they ought to show you at least a little bit of handling. It didn't have to be in depth. And if they're going to put a trick in the trailer, they should at least talk about it in the DVD, I think. So that was a little bit of an issue for me. The bottom line is, if you know that you need some linked rubber bands, like a bunch of them, and you don't want to buy them, or if you want to do a linked mint trick, the Lifesaver mints, or you need some roughed cards or something, then this may be a good investment for you. If, however, you want to learn some tricks to do with this Svengali or with the linked rubber bands or whatever, if you want to learn some handling ideas, that ain't here, folks. So, bottom line, if you need these props and you don't want to buy them, you'd rather make them, get this. For me, linking rubber bands, they're cheap. This is the ones that Sam's Mines put out. You get a whole bunch of them for a pretty inexpensive price. I don't remember the details, but they're very inexpensive, and you get a whole bunch of them. Or the Paul Harris ones that came with souvenir linking rubber bands. Those, again, you get refill packs for those. They're not very expensive. To me, I don't want to sit and cut and make 50 or 100 linked rubber bands. But if you'd rather do that and you want to know how to do it, and you want to be able to make rubber bands that are linked to other things besides rubber bands, the method for doing it on here is very, very, very good. It's nothing you don't know. I mean, you know what you got to do, but they teach you how to do it in a very, very good way. Which reminds me, the teaching on here is very good. Even though the DVD, he speaks Chinese, and you can get Chinese, Japanese, or English subtitles. I watched it with the subtitles. You don't even need that. You could turn the audio completely off and just watch the close-up shots, which are very well done. They've got a weird, goofy, underlying little quasi-movie thing going through that's kind of... It was there were some funny moments, but it was more just campy and kind of stupid. But it doesn't matter because that's not what you're buying. You're buying these DIY projects. So, linking rubber bands, I'd probably make myself, or I probably would buy them. I apologize. Svengali deck, I would definitely buy. The linking mints, I would go, if I'm going to do that effect, I would go here. I'd go to this DVD and do this. Roughing some cards. I've never had a need to just rough cards that I couldn't already, you know, in other words, whenever I use rough cards, it's an invisible deck or something like that. What else? The marked card system, I would use this. If I'm going to do a marked deck, I would actually try this one out. And then, did I miss one? I feel like I'm missing one. Well, the loops. I don't use loops, so I can't say one way or the other. But I'm pretty sure it'd be cheaper to buy a whole bunch of elastics and tie them. And they show you very clearly how to tie them here, which is, it's a little trickier than you think. It's not hard, but if you just try to do it on your own, you probably wouldn't be as successful as you would after you've watched this DVD. So, you can see I'm kind of in the middle on this thing, right? So that's 3.5 stars, Stone Status Gem. And I believe I'm just going to stop right there and move on to the random iTunes song of the moment. And it is... Yes. You guys remember these guys? This is Live. And the band, that's the band. They're called Live. And the song is All Over You. That's a great song. It's on their Throwing Copper album, which is a really, really, really good album. What I like about that one, I had the DVD. I actually had the cassette tape at one point, but then I bought the DVD. And the DVD, it's an olive color, greenish. And if you look at the DVD, right in the center where the hole is, right next to it, it says Live. So that circle looks like an O, and then the word Live, you get the word olive, which is the color of the disc. I don't know if that was just a coincidence or if I just am observing things that aren't really there. I don't know what. Anyway, if you have never heard Live, the band Live, they're great. They're killer. Get Throwing Copper. Get their Greatest Hits album. They got a lot of great stuff. And I heard they just recently released their first album in 8 years. But they also have a new lead singer. I like the old one. I don't know much about the new one. But I love the old guy's voice. So anyway, that's my live trivia for the day. Thanks for watching. See you on the next review. Peace and out.